Hey, welcome back. Not trying to set a record here or anything. I know I'm pumping out some videos back to back to back, but I've been really busy at work and I haven't been able to record through the week. So I'm trying to put out some content over the weekend while I have time, and we're going to get right into it right after this. All right, check it out. We have Bernheim Original. This is not a bourbon, so I will put this down as a bonus video. This is a Kentucky straight wheat whiskey. The only thing I know about this is what's on the bottle, which is 7-year age statement, 45%, 90 proof, and it is a small batch. And it's Bernheim Original. Is what it says on there. It has the little wheat thing. The other thing I know about this is it says distilled and bottled by Bernheim Distillery, Bardstown, Kentucky. But this is a Heaven Hill associated whiskey. One of a kind, is handcrafted. Don't see it on here, but I do remember, and I could be wrong, but I do remember seeing something that this was associated with Heaven Hill. So I don't know. But again, with this channel, I try to bring you stuff off the cuff. I don't like to do a lot of research. I like to keep it just, off the nose, off the palate, and don't be jaded by things. So nice. Man, that was a nice cork pop there. All right, let's pour you a little bit. Okay, pour me some. Been pretty excited to try this one. No alcohol abuse. Different. All right, so set that here. Let's get some air in it and talk about wheat. Bourbon, okay? As a reminder, and not to be condescending or anything, but bourbon, if you don't know, if you do, that's fine. It has to be at least 51% corn in the mash. It can be 100% corn in the mash. Has to be aged in new American oak barrels that's been charred to a certain, there's different char levels that they can put on the inside of the barrel for at least 2 years. But typically you're going to see 4+ years on most better bourbons. Some of them 7, 6, 8. All of that's great. And it doesn't really, age doesn't necessarily make a bourbon better. So I know that, Elijah Craig has an 18, Eagle Rare has like a 12 or something that, it's older. There's the Pappy Van Winkles that everyone goes nuts over. And I can tell you right now, I've tried a couple of them. They're fine. They're not worth the hype of the money, in my opinion. But, they're great and they give you notes, but I expect such a depth of complexity if I'm spending that much money on a bourbon. And I just don't get it out of there. It has legs for days. Trust me, this has great legs on it. But wheat, now of course, then there's rye whiskeys, 100% rye, like Whistle Pig and things like that. And there's all kinds of like Michter's and even, a lot of these regular brands and all, they make a rye version of, their whiskey. If you like rye, go for it. It's going to be spicier. It's going to be more floral. A lot of people think the best old fashions are made with rye whiskey. Sure, going ahead. I think the rye needs that little bit of, for some people, needs that simple syrup in there with that citrus to help, draw it down. I think though a rye with the spices and the florals, it kind of brings that citrus note out. So when you muddle the orange peel in there, I think it brings it out more. But let's stick to wheat. Wheat is going to be super soft. Not as good. It's not going to be as sweet as corn. Those are just preconceived things that I'm looking for. Probably going to be a little breadier with this, a little pretzel-y something. I don't know. This is my first time. Let's give her a nose. Yep. Okay, so I am picking up some of that fresh baked bread aromas off this. But it does nose kind of sweet to me. I am getting some of that caramel in there. Not getting a lot of woody notes off of the nose. Nice, thick trails coming down, running really slow. So I'm expecting a good tongue coating, a nice finish. Yeah, there's something else in there. I'm having a hard time picking it out. Not a lot of fruit notes to this. Yeah, maybe some, a little bit of wood in there. Some like new wood, like cut. Like if you were cutting a oak tree and you're getting some of that sawdust smell in the air. A little bit of that, but let's give her a taste. Wow. Now, I don't like to give a lot of notes off that first one, but I can tell you I have a smile on my face. This stuff is fantastic. Yeah. Hang on, let me get that second one. Work that all around. Oh, I love the finish on this. Oh, wow. We've got, this is going into more of a toffee flavor on the back end back here. A little bit of spice to it, just a hint. But those wood notes are coming out on the palate, sides of the tongue. I'm getting just enough sweetness down the middle that it reminds me of some of the drier bourbons. This stuff is really, really good. Now, I know I mentioned in my last video about what this channel is all about. I like all kind of whiskey. I like rye. I like 100% rye. I like the wheats, 100% whatever. I do drink a scotch here and there. I love the butterscotchy, buttery flavor of a good scotch. Now, a bad one will it tastes like soured butter. But yeah, I love that. I don't really like the peaty, smoky scotches that much. Probably because my swim lane is really bourbon. But I do enjoy trying different whiskeys. Some rums are okay. Spiced rums are pretty good, but I reserve that more around Christmas time and maybe a little rum in the eggnog or something like that. But this is fantastic. Oh, yeah. A little bit of earthiness in there with it. Kind of reminds me of Uncle Nearest a little bit. I won't compare them. Uncle Nearest, I think, is a totally different, it's a Tennessee whiskey, and it's a completely different ball game. But some of those grassy, earthy tones I'm getting out of this, I get out of Uncle Nearest as well, and I really enjoy Uncle Nearest as a Tennessee whiskey. I am going to get one of those Jack Daniel's single barrels or something to try. I did pick up Jim Beam single barrel. So now Jim Beam bourbon, okay, Jack Daniel's Tennessee whiskey, difference, all right. But typically their lower end stuff's mass produced, and I know I did the Benchmark bourbon, okay, and you can go back and watch that video. And it's why I don't really like to review the lower ends, because you don't get those notes, you don't get the depth. But this has some really good qualities about it. There is absolutely nothing off-putting about this at all. This is fantastic. Yeah, not a long finish, but man, that creamy toffee in the back here on the finish is, man, it's good. Now, it's only 90 proof. I say only. Again, if you're new to the channel, I love barrel proofs, cask strengths. I'm not getting too big of a hug off this, but man, the flavors are there. I could probably take a bigger little swig of it and maybe get some warmth in the top of the stomach, up the, you know, esophagus back here in the back, but man, I could drink that all afternoon and regret it tomorrow. So this is one of those, I think, what I classify as a dangerous whiskey because it drinks below its alcohol content. It's super flavorful. It makes you want to go back and get another drink and another drink and another drink. And then all of a sudden, it's going to catch up with you after a little bit. But I am definitely going to finish this and enjoy that one too. What I normally do when I end these videos is I take that glass and I pour it into this glass. And then I go sit down to process the video. And I just enjoy the rest of the bourbon, or in this case, whiskey. But yeah, fantastic. I cannot say enough about this. There's not a heavy vanilla to it. Oh, that toffee flavor in the back is so good. And just enough earthiness to it to keep you. It really sets your mind out in the field, you know. It's like, oh, I'm in nature. And this is a really good whiskey. I won't say bourbon, whiskey. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you can find a bottle of Bernheim Original if you are so inclined to do so. But as always, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell down there for notifications, and I promise I'll keep bringing you these videos.